Hi there, thank you so much for joining me. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this mini diamond fold card that folds up to make a 3x3 inch card that perfectly fits into one of our little mini envelopes. It's such a great and cool way to say thank you to someone, and I love the little 3x3 inch size. So I saw a bunch of these on Pinterest as I was kind of browsing around looking for a special fancy fold, and I didn't see one that was resized to 3x3 inch, so I thought I would show you how easy these are to make. So if you're interested, keep on watching. We're going to make this card in the Melon Mambo colorway, and I've got a piece of cardstock that measures 3 inches by 9 inches, and along the 9-inch side, we're going to go ahead and score this at 1.5 and 3, and I'm going to spin at 180 and do the same at 1.5 and 3. Then I'm just going to make a little tick mark at the 4.5 inch mark at the top, and I'll rotate it, and at the bottom. So we're going to have 2 little tick marks right there at the 4.5 inch mark. Now what I'm going to do next is flip my cardstock over. So this was the side that we scored the straight lines on. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and we're going to do our diagonal scoring on the back side. So let me show you a quick template of what we're going to do here. So we did our score lines at 1.5 and 3 on both sides, 1.5 and 3. Then we made little tick marks at 4.5 here. Okay, so we're going to use those tick marks to help us score a diagonal line from these 1.5 inch vertical lines diagonally to that 4.5 inch tick mark that we made. Now what I've done with my Simply Scored is I have taken a black Sharpie marker and just drawn straight down the 6 inch measurement, and that's going to help me line up the score line with the tick mark to score those diagonal lines. So what I'm going to do, and let me just show you what it'll look like on here, I'm lining up that 1.5 inch score line with the 4.5 inch tick mark, and then I'm going to score. And I'm going to do that to make 4 separate diagonal lines. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Lining up that 1.5 inch score line with that 4.5 inch tick mark, and then I'm going to score. I'm just going to continue to do that. Tick mark to score line, and again we're always going to the outside score lines, and I'll do that on the other side as well. All right, so there are our score lines. So we've got the vertical score lines on this side and the diagonal score lines on the back side. So again, here's that template again, and those are the score lines we just made. Now, here's a little tip. So the vertical score lines, you'll notice that those are kind of a valley. So it went into the paper, and what we're going to do on those is fold away from the valley, or folding backwards from the scored side. I hope that makes sense. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab my bone folder, and I'm going to fold and burnish on all of the straight score lines. Again, on all of them, on the valley side of the paper, I am folding them backwards. Then I'm going to flip the cardstock over, and this is the valley side where we did the scoring on the diagonal, and those we're going to fold backwards as well. And that's just a tip. Anytime you want to score, you always want to fold away from your score line, and that's going to give you a really sharp crease there. Okay, so we've finished doing that. So all of our vertical ones are going in this direction, and all of our diagonal ones are going in this direction. And you'll see that you kind of have these little triangles here folding inside, and that, as easy as can be, is going to fold into our diamond fold fancy fold here. How cool is that? So the last thing I'm going to do here is just going to reinforce those diagonal score lines to make them sharper. Again, this is heavy cardstock, So we do want to break the paper fibers down a little bit. All right, that works. Beautiful. So now let's go ahead and adhere our designer series paper. I'm using the Brights designer series paper stack. It's a 6 by 6 inch stack of designer series papers. You get 4 pieces of designer series paper for each of the 10 colors. So it's a total of 40 sheets, but you get 2 each of 2 double-sided designs. I hope you can see that. It's just beautiful. And I love this paper, so easy to use for so many different projects. So I grabbed a piece of Melon Mambo and I cut 2 pieces that measure 1 3/8 by 2 7/8, and those are going to adhere to these outside rectangular panels. I also have 1 piece that measures 2 inches by 2 inches, and that's going to adhere to the middle. I'll get to these in just a moment, so I'm going to put those off to the side, but first I'm going to go ahead and adhere these to the front of the card using some multi-purpose glue. All right, we've got those pieces adhered. Now I've got 1 piece that measures 1 15/16 by 1 15/16. So that's just 1/16 of an inch less than 2 inches. So just a hair less. And I'm gonna bring in the Stampin' trimmer and show you a trick here. We're gonna cut this at the diagonal, so from point to point. And the easiest way to do that is to line up your points in the cutting groove of the Stampin' trimmer. And sometimes the blade will catch when you're trying to cut right there on the corner. So the trick I have here is to start your blade in the middle of the paper and just cut upwards and downwards. And that's going to give you a nice, smooth, clean cut. So we've got 2 triangle pieces. And again, this was from the 1 15/16 inch square that we cut in the diagonal in half. All right, and those pieces we're going to adhere here. All right, but while we have the Stampin' trimmer out, I have also cut 2 more pieces, and these measure 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So 1/8 of an inch smaller than 2 inches. We're going to do a similar thing, so corner to corner. We're going to cut that at the diagonal, starting our blade in the middle of the paper. So I'll do that to both of those pieces. And then we want to cut these again to create 2 smaller triangles. And the trick with this is to butt your cardstock up against this bar at the top here, but then line up the point in the cutting groove, and then you're going to cut down. So you're going to start cutting from this flat edge. That will make sure that the blade doesn't stick, and cut down. And then you're going to have 2 small triangles. So I'm going to do that to all 4 pieces. Okay, now we've got all these little tiny triangles. There's 8 of them. Now I'm going to flip them over because we're going to alternate, and let me show you on our sample. Here's one in Coastal Cabana. We're going to alternate how we lay out these patterns, but I want all 4 of these striped triangles to have the stripes going in the same direction. So what I'm doing here is just flipping these over and putting aside all the triangles that have the stripes going vertically. All right, there they are. We'll put those to the side. Those are the ones that will have the stripes facing out, and these will have the polka dots facing out. So now what we're going to do is just adhere, and I'm going to do these stripes. We're going to adhere these here. Then I'm just going to lay this out, and then I will fast forward through all of this gluing, and then the polka dot ones will go next. And then our stripes will go on the inside. All right, so let me go ahead and get those adhered. Okay, now all of those triangles are adhered. I'll just make sure to fold this. There we go. Now I'm going to do one piece on the back, And that measures 2 inches by 2 inches, and that's just going to allow you to write a little note in this card. All right, now let's do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to use the Stitched All Around bundle, and that is a stamp set and die set that are bundled together for a 10% discount. And the stamp set is called Stitched All Around, and we're going to use this little thank you sentiment. And then the die set is the Stitched Labels framelits. They all have this stitching detail to them, and we're going to use this little circle die to cut out our sentiment. So I'm going to stamp the thank you in Melon Mambo on Whisper White. I'm going to bring the big shot in, and we'll just quickly go ahead and cut this out. Look how awesome that die cut is. I love the detail on that. There's some stitching and some cutouts and a perfect circle. And I'm just going to pop that up on the front of our card using a few dimensionals. And voila! Look how beautiful and cool that fancy fold card is. Now let me show you the different colorways that I've made so far. So we've got Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, and Coastal Cabana, 3 of the 10 colors in the Brights color family. Love them. They'll also stand up on their edge, which I think is great for the recipient to display them. And this is just a great way to showcase our beautiful designer series papers and wow the recipient. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and a picture of the template. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. I have options to subscribe to both my newsletter and my daily blog updates, and I'd love to welcome you as a new subscriber. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in earning a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, I'd love to have you join my team of Paper Pixies, and you can purchase the starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.